No idea what's going on here. None. Just that this is as winter sportsy as I can manage with this programme. Someone please make a contemporary version of Movie Storm using the Unity engine or something. Anyway, as you've no doubt surmised, this is another Olympic-themed episode of the Hard Sell, where to stick in the etc, due to the impending Winter Games in Italy, due to start in a week's time. To mark the occasion, some barely if at all relevant adverts from 1996. Look, the connection might be tenuous, but it's partly because this was another request. And obviously you can make your own requests via the contact form on the website, or better yet, sign up for the Patreon and get your name in the credits. This request came from Lionel Ritchie. I'm sorry, I'll read that again, Lucy Ritchie. She wanted me to tackle the adverts from one of the few showings of an obscure Olympic-related animation that ran on TNT in the run-up to the Atlanta Olympics. You might have heard of Izzy's quest for Olympic gold, part of the sobbingly desperate attempts to make the Atlanta 96 mascot actually work. Izzy, as he ended up being called, is almost certainly the most infamous of all Olympic mascots, and to be fair to him does kind of sum up that most corporate whoring, joylessly capitalistic of games. Right from the start, when the original open pitching period came with small print denying the designers any rights or indeed payment for their ideas, whether they were used or not, which succeeded only in making most of the major professional design companies peace out right then and there. The ideas they got included anthropomorphic peanuts, gorillas, gophers, and about 10 billion variations on the Georgia peach, but the one they went with shocked everyone. I say they went with. It was actually a unilateral decision by the head organiser, Billy Payne. Instead of an animal, vegetable, or even mineral, it was a massive grinning tapered blue blob in sneakers, adorned in the Olympic rings, that farted stars. It was called the What Is It, because that's the first thing everyone said when they saw it. Payne picked it over all the entries that were actual things, on the sole basis that it was made on a computer and that was the next big thing. It made its debut during the handover portion of the 1992 closing ceremony and instantly became a laughing stock, as by proxy did the city of Atlanta. In something of a panic, the organising committee immediately commenced a massively focus grouped redesign, which resulted in the What Is It gaining a looser, slightly less busy look, becoming shorter and wider, with a more expressive face, complete with a nose, and a mouth that wasn't reminiscent of a deranged game show host. The fart cloud of stars was dropped, and the basic model took on a more keep-on-truckin' sort of pose. He also gained a proper name, What Is It, shortened to Izzy. He was still an over-designed and extremely 90s lump of blue tack, but there wasn't much they could do about that. And hey, children liked him, especially once he'd been redesigned. Not only was he less creepy looking, that original grin suggested someone you wouldn't leave around otherwise unsupervised children, but being smaller and chubbier meant he presented younger, and kids always like a fellow kid character, even if they hate each other in real life. Izzy merchandise sold like reasonably hot cakes, and the organising committee probably breathed a sigh of relief that they'd more or less got away with it. This is all by way of introducing the animated special. The committee commissioned it at the cost of several $100,000 from Film Roman, the much-missed independent animation house behind Garfield, The Simpsons until they were absorbed by Disney, King of the Hill, that mental swing revival era Felix the Cat series that was like someone hit the Fleischer brothers over the head with a croquet mallet, and many more. Which is good. These were good people who knew what they were doing. And the special's actually pretty okay. Certainly not the car wreck its reputation sort of defaulted to. The animation's nice, reminiscent of the classic shows coming out of Warner's in those days. And while the story's basically the usual boilerplate believe in yourself bollocks, it passes harmlessly enough. And Izzy actually looks strangely right amongst a whole species of similar tapered blobs. It is absolutely nothing special, but it could, maybe even should, have been a lot worse. And now you can say that for certain, because for a long time it was lost media. It ran on fairly popular cable channel TNT a mere handful of times, some reports claim as few as 3, between August 1995 and the eve of the games themselves a year later. The showing that finally resurfaced last year seems to be from that last showing in August 1996, based on this trailer in the middle of it for the Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, which started that year. That's right, it comes with commercial breaks. Why do you think we're here? This is a half-hour special running to 22 original minutes, but it still has 3 breaks in it, because America. And relatively minor cable channel as well, I suppose. So what about those adverts? Well, you have to remember this is America in the 90s, and it's a show aimed at children and young teens. So we're going to get a little bit on the radical side of things.
Grandma, you see my cornflakes?
See? The classic, terribly disturbing corn pop scenario where a teen is deprived of his breakfast cereal and goes insane with withdrawal symptoms, complete with copious use of wide-angle and fisheye lenses, often at an angle. Get used to that.
Great. Grandma comes over and cleans out my corn pops, and I can't say anything because she's Grandma, and what am I going to do?
You see why I find these so unsettling? It's like a meth PSA. You're going to grab a bread knife and cut Grandma's gullet open to feast on the half-digested pops inside. However, this one does have a twist.
Great, I've cleaned out his corn pops and he can't say anything because I'm Grandma. What's he gonna do?
Dear God, she knows exactly what she's doing. She's leveraging her son's addiction as a power move. This is like a Tracy Let's Play.
If I give her the sad puppy face.
Oh no, not the sad puppy face.
So she backs down, but only after making sure we all know where we stand. Whoever controls the pops controls the family.
Kellogg's Corn Pop cereal is part of this complete breakfast.
So what do we got here? A glass of orange juice, a plain waffle, an apple, and a pint of full-fat milk. Presumably to go with the cereal, but it's ambiguous. There's quite a lot to force down in order to offset the empty calories of the corn pops. But it's not like you have a choice. Like the man said.
Hey, gotta have my pops.
Got to. Not want to. Got to.
Gotta have my pops.
And if that wasn't 90s enough for you, here's some shouting about soft drinks.
Kool-Aid flavor vision is on! Check out this video for watermelon cherry! Lemonade hits the charts!
Kool-Aid. Not something that's ever caught on over here because we were happy with just regular non-powdered squash that isn't completely demented. This is America, though. And this isn't the stupidest idea for promoting flavours I've ever seen. Representing them as music videos projected onto buildings from primitive CGI blimps with commentary yelled by a generic cool black man. Now that I've said that aloud, maybe it is the stupidest idea. But it works well enough by its own lights. Once you've accepted it, you'll need to watch it more than once to really discern what's going on. It's interesting how they've characterised their flavours as well. I'm sure it's basically arbitrary, but watermelon cherry is represented as some kind of post-grunge act, trapped in 1996, waiting for new metal to be invented. While lemon is basically TLC, complete with waterfall. And then the Kool-Aid man appears as some kind of terrifying leather-jacketed demagogue.
Big man!
You'd think Kool-Aid, of all products, would steer clear of that kind of imagery. Yes, I know it was actually Flavour Aid at Jonestown, but most people still don't.
It's not big or pretty, but it's the only foot that's a ball.
What? What are you doing now, 90s?
But it's the only foot that's a ball. The new Nick and Nerf football, only from Kool-Aid. You can get one free by mailing in an offer form with Kool-Aid points. See offer form for details.
So it's a sort of mini-American football for playing mini-American football games, shaped like a foot, sponsored by Nickelodeon, manufactured by Nerf and given away via tokens with Kool-Aid. I think that's as mid-90s as it's possible to get. Baseball cap on backwards and everything. Pretty sure we weren't actually still doing that by 1996, but never mind.
Nice hands! Nice foot!
How many times can you go to Chuck E. Cheese's before you've done everything there is to do?
Ah, Chuck E. Cheese. Another of those things we in the UK have heard a lot about from America, but never actually knew precisely what it was. Well, good news. At the end of last year, they announced a long-awaited expansion into Europe. Chuck is coming to Britain. Whether it'll last longer than, say, Tower Records remains to be seen. Obviously, it's a combination family restaurant, theme park, video arcade and nightmare. From the same guy who created Atari, although this was actually his real passion project. I have a feeling that just now, we in the UK mostly know it at one remove from Five Nights at Freddy's. So when it does come here, we may need to be reassured that these guys won't come to life and kill you for no apparent reason. Or for reasons linked to an increasingly complicated law that I do not want explained to me, thank you very much. As for the advert, it's a reasonable enough premise that quickly becomes incoherent in that specifically 90s sort of way.
That's a very good question. Eating pizza count? Leave the tunnel, jump in the ball pit.
Right over there.
Chuck E. Cheese is where kids can be a kid.
The second break begins with Pringles.
Once you pop, the fun don't stop.
Fairly generic advert really, your typical 90s montage of coolness, awesomeness and radicalness, or what the advertisers think those things look like at least. The soundtrack doesn't really qualify as any of those things, but it's a pun, so just go with it. I mostly want to draw your attention to this bit.
Stop. Greasy, not fun. Papa.
I don't remember the non-greasiness of Pringles being an advertising USP in this country, which might have something to do with the pain-in-the-arse legal issues they appear to have come up against in America. We're not saying all crisps are greasy, just that popular brand. You know the one. We can't say the name for legal reasons, but you know the one. More trouble than it's worth, really.
We'll start show and tell. Steven?
Did schoolrooms still look like this in 90s America? Because they didn't over here. We had tables. Like, full-size tables. And functioning lights. And everything wasn't shot on queasy wide-angle lenses. The wide-angle lens industry must have been absolutely booming in those days.
Steven? Check out my snake! Check this out.
Introducing Color Changing Squeeze-It. By dropping in these magic changers, you can switch a Squeeze-Its colors right before your eyes.
No way!
Colour changing. For some reason, it was a popular gimmick in the 90s. Must have been starting to die out by then. I remember it mostly in the early part of the decade, with those global hypercolour t-shirts that went from blue to pink from your body heat, and mugs that changed image as the tea cooled down. This squeezy drink thing seems to require more effort. You had to put in these hopefully non-toxic salts and then wait around for a minute. The advert tries to make it look more exciting, but legally has to be honest.
Plus, you never know what new color you'll get. New color-changing Squeeze-It fruit drink. Go ahead, squeeze the fun out of it.
Well, that's a depressing slogan. It doesn't seem to have caught on either. Maybe those tablets tasted disgusting. Or gave you cancer. Or maybe just a blue drink turning green wasn't that impressive anymore in 1996. We'll never know.
Ask your neighbor about Pixie Richard.
I did. She had no idea what it was. Not surprising, really. Yep, even American cable from 30 years ago isn't above local advertising. Here's PC Richard, consumer electronics in the New York, New Jersey area, and you can tell how exciting it is from these testimonies.
When you come to PC Richard, you get price, service, and selection.
PC Richards is really the place to shop. They have good quality, they have good selection.
Everything you could need or want, it's going to be here.
At least that last guy managed to sound like he wasn't contemplating suicide.
TVs, VCRs,
Boomboxes,
cameras,
Walkmans.
radios, telephones, refrigerator, washing machines, dishwashers. They have it all. There's something here for everyone.
They have everything and anything you could ask for.
Except happiness. They don't stop that. Still looking for someone who does.
PC Richard.
Nice CGI. Final break, and it's pretty short. Have some more cereal.
Okay, children, it's time for our milk and Rice Krispies treat cereal break. Whoa!
Treat cereal.
So this is a bit of product ping pong right here. Rice Krispies treats are what is referred to over here as Rice Krispies squares. Presumably because over here the term Rice Krispies treats brings to mind piles of Rice Krispies covered in melted chocolate and shoved into paper cups, which is probably far too basic for America. If you haven't encountered a Rice Krispie square, it's basically a big hunk of crisp rice held together by marshmallow. Tasty, if not exactly healthsome. Naturally, they were a thing in America before they were a thing here, and indeed they were a thing long enough for the idea to be reversed back and the marshmallow confections reconfigured as a cereal again.
Now remember, children, treat cereal is a delicious part of a complete breakfast.
Interesting. I would have thought this stuff would have been even worse for you than corn pops, but the complete breakfast for this advert is much less extensive. Just toast with a drop of jam and a glass of OJ. Maybe they figure that if you're having this for breakfast, then the battle's lost already. Oh, and ho ho, what silly boys.
My, you two certainly have been eating well.
Hey, we know what it takes for treat cereal.
You gonna finish that? Go to your room.
Okay.
I'm genuinely getting dizzy and nauseous with all these swooping fish-eyed zooms and angles. Oh, for some Wes Anderson or Peter Greenaway. Anyway, here's another great 90s kiddie advertising trope. Grown-ups and or authority aren't cool and indeed suck. Even though we don't know what this kid did. Maybe he nailed the cat to the wall or something. But whatever, we're clearly supposed to be sympathising with him simply because he's being punished. Because in an ironic twist, by being sent to his room, he's actually being rewarded.
Play the Crayola Room Full of Fun game and you can win the coolest room. A big screen TV, games, a computer, you name it.
Because he's won the most radical of rooms thanks to Crayola of all things.
To win, collect all 4 puzzle pieces in Crayola, crayons, markers, and colored pencils, or win one of 50,000 other prizes instantly.
Basically, please buy crayons. Put down the damn Game Boy and do some colouring in, you little bastards.
You'll want to hear.
Go to your room.
Specially marked Crayola packages for game pieces and rules. Many will play, some will win.
What in the world?
You know, all those women aged 50 to 75 who were watching Izzy's quest for Olympic gold on TNT.
Dad took it when you walked me to school that first day, remember?
It's amazing you didn't hate me forever for making you wear those galoshes.
You've always tried to protect me, Mom. That's why I bought that extra life insurance. When Dad died, I found out a funeral can cost over $6,000.
Okay, these women are roughly the same age, right? Only one's wearing a wig? Is it really beyond contemplation to put a woman actually over 70 on television for 2 minutes?
I never want to leave that kind of burden on you.
I thought British elderly-focused advertising was eerie, but the Americans win again?
Call 1-800-678-6058.
Mutual of Omaha. Go back to the nature footage. At least that seems native to the planet Earth.
Operators are available. Call now, 1-800-678-6058.
And that's it. Izzy gets to go to the Olympics, the credits roll immediately after the last break, going into yet another one, and the games ultimately aren't very good. Especially since they were the centennial of the modern games and needed to be a lot more special. Insert the usual big rant about capitalism here. Sorry, Atlantans. If it's any consolation, you guys did your city and state proud, even if the games themselves let you down somewhat. And so, after his fashion, did Izzy. Even if they were too embarrassed to include him in either of the ceremonies. I should ski off screen at this point, but there's not really any mechanism for that. I don't even have skis. And these are pokers. I am totally serious about the need for a modern follow-up to Movie Storm. This has been a Bob the Fish production, one of dozens you can watch right now for free on bobthefish.org.uk. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell, and join us on patreon.com/applemask to support further productions and gain fabulous exclusive content, like my ongoing history of the BBC, your day's viewing on a random day in history, even a few exclusive mini video essays. Plus the satisfaction of knowing that thanks to you, I get to eat regular meals. bobthefish.org.uk. We care because you do.